I speak to you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So, yesterday evening, after I had been at the driving range, I had shanked about 20 balls in a row over into the trees on the driving range, and I came home and I said to myself, there has got to be a better way of becoming a scratch golfer than practicing all the time. If I could just find the right club that always hit the ball in the place that I wanted to hit the ball, this game could be a lot easier. If I could just find that club. So I went online and I was on, this website that had all these clubs, and all these clubs would say, all of your problems will go away if you just buy this club. And I was so close to buying a wedge that said that everyone would go up perfectly and land on the green. And there I was thinking to myself, this will solve all of my problems. If I just get this wedge, I won't have to practice anymore. I'll just have the right tool that will do the job for me. This will solve all of my problems. And not only that, but all of you here will be so impressed by my golf swing when you go out and you play with me. You'll say, Robert, what happened? There must have been a miracle. Something must have happened. The reality is this, is that there is no club like that. My swing is broken. And the only thing that will fix my swing is practice. Whether I get that miracle club or not is really irrelevant, because until I really practice, nothing will solve my issue, which is my swing, not the club in my hand. Now, the reason I bring this up is that we've got a bit of an issue like this in our readings today. In our first reading from 2 Samuel, we've got David, who is doing all sorts of foul things before the Lord. But let's go back to 1 Samuel, when Israel was saying to God, God, we need a king. That's what we need. You see those Amorites? They've got a king, and he's really tall and good-looking, and he goes out to battle, and they win lots of battles. And those Philistines, they've got a king. We need a king like that. And those Canaanites, and the Hittites, and all those people around us, they've got kings, and they win battles, and they're organized. We need a king because all of our problems will be solved if we just had a king. And God says, be careful what you ask for. You want a king? You'll get a king. Oh, you'll get a king. And the first king they get is Saul. And Saul is a wonderful king until he's not a wonderful king. Until he starts killing the Israelites and starts going crazy and starts doing all manner of things that God doesn't approve of and that don't help Israel in the least. And then God says, I'm getting rid of this king because this king has stopped listening to me. So out goes Saul, and let's find the new king. And they go looking for a king, and they find David. And David is anointed before the Lord, and David's a great king. David has beaten all the armies around them in battle. He slews Goliath. He's the perfect king. He dances before the ark of the Lord. He builds God a great big house. He builds Jerusalem, the city of David. And he's a great king until he's not a great king anymore. Until he goes a little mashugana, a little crazy. And he says, And he's spying out over his city that he's built for the Lord, this great city he's built for the Lord. And he's looking out over Jerusalem. And then he sees a woman. I like her. Messenger, go summon that woman up here for me. I need to talk to that woman. Bring her on up here. And so the messenger goes and gets Bathsheba, and he finds out that Bathsheba's married. In fact, not only is Bathsheba married, she's married to Uriah the Hittite, his great warrior and friend. Well, no need to worry about that. We'll just sleep with Bathsheba anyways. Who cares if it's bad for Israel? Who cares if it's bad for me? Who cares if it's bad for Bathsheba? Who cares if it's bad for Uriah the Hittite? I'm the king. I get what I want. No need to worry about the law. No need to worry about anybody else here, because the king of Israel gets what the king of Israel wants. And right now, the king of Israel wants Bathsheba. And if that weren't bad enough, to cover up his sin, he calls Uriah in and he says, Uriah, you know what? You've been fighting long and hard on the battlefields of Israel. You need to go home and sleep with your wife and all will be well. In fact, I'll send you presents behind you too. But Uriah says, look, David, I'm not going home. We're fighting. The ark of the Lord is out in the battlefield. All of Israel's in the battlefield. I can't go home. I might be a Hittite, but I'm fighting for the Jews today. And I'm not going to commit a sin before the Lord. And so there's David trying to figure out how he's going to solve this problem that he created in the first place. How am I going to solve this problem? I've got just the right solution. I'll send a letter to Joab. Joab, put Uriah right in the middle of the battle, and just when it gets really thick and heavy, everybody pull away and let Uriah be killed. Boy, that's about the worst solution to a problem that I've ever heard. Cover up one sin with another sin. Now, we all know that's kind of how the human condition is. Cover up one sin with another sin. And we also know this. The desire of Israel to have a king, to be able to press the easy button, to have the right club in their hand to try and solve the problems, made everything go haywire. God told them, look, you want a king, you're going to get a king. You want a king who solves all your problems and makes all the problems of the world go away? Fine, you got it. You got it. You get Saul, see what happens there. You get David, see what happens there. You get Solomon, see what happens there. And then from there, it just goes on downhill from there. You want kings? I'll give you all the kings you can have. The real question for Israel and for David is this: what is the right relationship we're supposed to have with God? God warned them, look, you want a king to try and take my place, you're going to get the results you get. Try and replace God with a king, and you'll get nonsense. Now, our reading from Ephesians takes this point even further. Basically, this section of Ephesians comes right after the first part of chapter 3 in Ephesians, when Paul begged the Ephesians to stop fighting with one another. Stop arguing over stuff that doesn't matter. Stop arguing about things that are about identities in this world. And so he says in this part of the chapter, I pray for you. I pray that you will accept the grace of God by faith so that you will be rooted in the love of God through Christ. I want you to be rooted in something beyond all of the identities, all of the problems, all of the issues of this world. I want you to have something more than what the world presents to you. I want you to be rooted in God's love. I don't want you to be rooted in the identities of this world. I don't want you to yearn for something that won't really solve your problems. I want you to have that which really cures the soul. And that leaves us with our reading from the Gospel of John today. In the Gospel of John today, it says Jesus has just come from healing lots of people. So he's got crowds following him. They've seen him do great works. He's been healing them. And there are all these people gathered following Jesus. And they're just waiting for the next miracle. Maybe we'll see some more healings. Maybe something great will happen. Boy, let's see what Jesus does this time. And Jesus turns to Philip and he says, where are you going to buy some food for us, Philip? We got 5,000 people here. Where are you going to feed them? And Philip says, well, you know, Jesus, that would be a lot of money. I don't think we can really do that. That would be many months of wages, and Jesus, that's not going to work. And so, then Andrew says, well, there's a boy over here, and he's got 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Maybe that'll work. And Jesus says, come. Bring us those loaves and those fish. Let's see what happens here. And Jesus begins to bless the food and break the bread, and he passes it around, and lo and behold, everyone has as much to eat as they can eat. And not only that, but 12 baskets are filled with the fragments of bread left over after everybody has had enough. In other words, all the tribes of Israel get everything they need, and all the disciples, i.e. all the followers of Jesus, get everything they need. Their baskets are filled. But what's the response the people have? Give us a king! We need a king! Give us a king! That'll solve all of our problems. We've seen how it worked in the past. Boy, let's get another king. So let's go make Jesus the king. Not only can he heal us, not only can he feed us, but he must be a great king. Let's get a king. Herod's no good. Caesar's no good. Agrippa's no good. Let's get ourselves a new king, a king who will solve all of our problems. And Jesus goes, no, that's not what I wanted you to do. I don't need to be king. Nobody here needs to replace Herod. Nobody here needs to try and fill the shoes of David, because all of that, if you look in the history of Israel, just went wrong. I'm not here, Jesus, in other words, says, to be your easy button. I'm not here to be that magical wedge that always puts within 6 inches of the hole. I'm not here to be your easy button. So Jesus goes up into the mountains and disappears, and he leaves his disciples to row across Lake Tiberias. And they're rowing across, and they hit a storm, and they're all kind of grumbly. We got to get all the way across the Sea of Tiberias here. And then a storm comes, and they start to get anxious and worried. And there is Jesus off in the distance. And he says, it is I. Do not be afraid. It is I. Do not be afraid. Jesus is telling them, look, I'm asking that you be rooted in something more than just the cares of the day, than just the identities of the world. I'm asking you to be rooted in the love of God. I'm interested in you following me all the time, no matter whether it's difficult or easy. I will feed you. I am the bread come from heaven. I am Jesus, the Lord, sent to you by God the Father. It is I. Do not be afraid. The peoples, they wanted easy. They wanted Jesus when he was filling their bellies and healing them of all their hurts. But the cross, that's a bridge too far. And Jesus is saying to his disciples, it is I. Do not be afraid. Do not worry about the outcomes of the day. Worry about being rooted in the love of God. And if you are, you will follow me no matter where I go. And you will truly be fed the bread of life, the bread of heaven. Today, you didn't just get up on a beautiful Sunday in July just to come and hang out with your friends. You didn't come here to press the easy button. You didn't come here because magically all the flaws of your swing were going to go away if you came today. No, you came to be with Jesus. You came to be fed the true bread, no matter what the cost might be. And that's what we're going to do today. There's Jesus up there at the altar, and he's saying to each and every one of us, it is I. Do not be afraid. Come with me for the journey. I am the bread come from heaven. It is I. Do not be afraid. There's no easy button on this journey. There is love, and there is grace, and there is faith, and there is Jesus, and there is being rooted in God and God alone. I wish I could hand out to each and every one of you that magic golf club that made you be able to swing perfectly, but I can't. God offers us Jesus, and Jesus says, it is I. Do not be afraid. Come, follow me. Be rooted in God's love, and know that I will always be with you on this journey. It is I. Be not afraid. Amen.